And then finally you wanted to send it to new sheet, which is new iPhone data table, right? Okay, thanks,
Yes.
Vajrang. I see you have recorded already. Thank you for that. Vajrang, can you also please give access to that email ID?
I will give.
Thank you,
Go.
and I'll continue.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go.
so Sushmit, I can see that you have a data row with that three arguments, Samsung 52,000 and 2022. And then finally you have a write range. Can you click on write range? And you wanted to create a new sheet, named a new sheet, and the Excel file is iphone.xlsx, right?
Yes, yes. I think I got it. I created a new sheet, so that's why it's pasting in the new sheet. Sorry, sorry.
If it's clear for you, I'm okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, fine.
Uh,
Good. Anything else, Sushmit? Good
no,
that
no,
you're
no.
practicing, but please do whatever I'm doing, at least you do that. You'll learn a lot of things. On top of it, explore more other options also, which is like out of what I am sharing you in the class.
Yes, my question was that if I don't if I change the sheet name to the first one, suppose phones,
Mhm.
where it will paste the new data, it will
Yes,
in the
it
same.
will replace the data with whatever you had earlier. Let's say earlier I have some data. It will replace
Oh,
with this new data.
okay,
You can try
okay,
that,
okay,
Sushmit, but the answer is it will replace the data.
okay, okay. Thank
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have any other problem? We have 2 more minutes. I'll give you 2 more minutes. Please, if you have any doubts, you can tell me. And Vanshika, you will get access. So after today's class, regularly from day one, you please check that video. You can pause the video, go one by one. And wherever you have a problem, you can just put me a message saying I have a problem somewhere. But that recordings will definitely help you. But still, if you have a problem, you can just tell me, Vanshika.
Okay, sir.
Okay, great. If no, nothing else, I will start today's session. Okay, I'll take the silence as no. I'll start the new session. And so I will just help you understand what did we do so far related to data tables. So in an ideal scenario, please don't create like what I am doing. Any this type of shitty things like these names and all. Create a proper workflow. But just to help you, I'm just creating this workflow, but ideally keep a proper. Okay. So now we will continue with where we left. And also, I want you please do that thing, whatever we are doing. This examples, whatever I'm taking, whatever task I'm doing in this session, try to please replicate it first. Second thing, do something which you wanted to do. Explore the properties you have in these activities. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. So we have tried to add a data column to a data table. We have done the data row. We have build data table. We have done clear data table. We have completed filter data table. We have used for each row in data table, right? And finally, we have done build data table from text, means from a string, we have created a data table. Okay. Hope all these things you have already understood. Now I will start with the new topic, new activities. And also here and there, I'll also involve Excel also, because Excel is something we have just used to read the data from an Excel sheet. Now let's do more and more things related to data table and Excel sheet. Okay. For Vanshika, we have just completed these 7. Once you get access, you can explore them. But today I will also help you. You will not see like this a completely new thing. You will also understand whatever I'm speaking. Okay. Now let's
Okay.
understand this thing called get row item. Okay. So now before I do this, let me again do this build data table. So in the build data table, I'm just clicking on this data table button. Okay. So like we did other day, I will just create a new column name in a data table. Let's say employee name, and employee name should be a string. It should not be an integer. It should be a string. And then I'm saying, okay, now let's take this pencil mark. You click on it, and here you again say employee salary. and employee salary, let's say string. Okay, just say string. Okay, and then I'm saying okay. Now we have two columns in our data table. One is name, other is salary. And I don't have any records at this moment. So to add the records to your data table, add data row will add the rows to your data table. If you want to add column, add data column. All those things we have already done, right? So now we will learn the next. Let's say here manually I'm trying to do something. Let's say employee name. Let's say Sirisha is the employee name and employee salary. Let's say 55,000. Let's try to add one more employee. I'm saying plus symbol. Sirisha and 55,000. And let's say Sri Lakshmi and let's say 56,000. And then I'm saying, okay. Sometimes you get this and what you need to do is just clear off this. Okay, after your build data table is ready, then just create this output here saying dt control K dt underscore employee data. Okay, like this we should create a data table. Now let's say I wanted to get in which row I have a person called Sirisha in my data table. I wanted to know that particular data. So let me just introduce this activity called get row item. So in get row item, we should pass that information, like where that particular value it has. So just a moment. Okay. So what is our data table now? What is the variable name of our data table? What is the variable name of our data table? Whatever we have created just now. How do I get the
DT
variable name?
employee.
DT employee data, right? So in an interviewer, if somebody is asking you, how do you get a data row from your data table? So first of all, let's understand what is data row, what is data table. So for that, data row, what is data table? So this is again very important concept. And when you are going to next level, maybe into RE framework level, this is the difference you need to definitely understand. So data table, it's clear. You have a data in a table format. What do you mean by table format? That we have seen some Excel sheet, right? In that Excel sheet, you have an iPhone model data, right? In that iPhone model data sheet, you have one column, two columns, three columns. That's a data of a proper table structure. So that it can be of one first column, second column, third column, and then row one here, and row two, like that. So first one is row one, second one is row two. So now what is data row? So this row is called data row. This is another data row. And if you have more records, it's another data row. So list of data rows is called data table. So if I open this sheet, whatever we have created when we got the iPhone model data. So you have two variables. So these are the two variables. I will show you where you will find it. So this complete table is called data table. And now this, whatever I have highlighted is called data row. This is another data row. This is another data row, data row, data row. So this is very important. You need to understand what's the difference between data table and data row. Now let me show you how do I find where is data table, where is data row. Now if you go to this variables, everybody know where to see the variables. I just click on this variables. And now if you go to this, let's create a new variable. Okay, just for this example, I'll just creating a variable. It's a demo variable. Okay, now if you ignore the spellings, please. So variable type. So if you see, we have Boolean, we have integer, string, object, data table. But do we have any variable type called data row? No, because by default, you will not have a variable name called data row. So how do I do that? Like I told you, go for browse for types and here simply type DATAROW, data row. So now if you do data row, you will see inside this system.data, you will find data row. So data row is one of the variable. Now I say okay, then you will see a variable type called data row. So now we have one variable called data table and another variable called data row. Guys, this is really very important because data row variable is something, if somebody would have seen any YouTube video or any other things, or somebody would have got any interview experience from your friends and all, data row concept is very important. So if you concentrate here, you will definitely understand what is data row. Okay, so data table, like I told, this complete thing is called data row. Sorry, data table. This is called data row. Now in interview, somebody asks you, Sushmit, can you get me the record you have in row number 6, in row number 5, or row number 1? How do you get a particular row value? If they ask you this question, then whatever I'm showing you now is the answer. So let's say instead of having this data row variable like this, let me change the variable name saying dt data row dr underscore record. So dr is like data row underscore record. Now let me show you how do we get that. Take assign activity. Okay, take assign activity. Now if you want a particular record from your data table, then first of all you need to give the data table name. So dt employee data is the data table name, and inside that just give the index. If it's a first row you want to give, you should give 0, and here if you see data record. Now your error is gone, and if you see right side I gave dt employee data, that means employee data. In that 0 is this record, the first record, and this is 1, this is 2. So always remember the index will start from 0. Now let's see what it is doing. What is our data table? We have 2 records, Sirisha, Sri Lakshmi. So now let's see what we have by putting a breakpoint. Here I'm just saying stop just for debugging. I'm saying F9. Okay, let's go and see what it's doing. So the example, whatever I'm showing you is like how do you retrieve a particular row from a data table, right? So let me clear everything. Now, first of all, what do we have in data table DT employee data? Let's see DT employee data. So we have 2 people, Sirisha, Sri Lakshmi with their salaries. Okay, now what did we do? We wanted to retrieve 0th index data. Now let's see what is there in DR record. Now, if you see DR record, it has this particular 2 objects. The first object is Sirisha, the first record, and the salary is 55,000. But when you are saying employee data of 0, that will not give you Sri Lakshmi's record. Okay, that will not give you Sri Lakshmi's record because we said DT employee data of 0. Now, when do I get Sri Lakshmi's record? Can somebody tell me? If I want Sri Lakshmi's record, what should I do?
0 next to 1.
Exactly. So DT employee data next is 1 and then end. Okay, now you see you got the Sri Lakshmi's record. Now let's say the same thing. Let's say I do 2. 2 is giving you null. 3 is giving you null. What do you mean by 2 is giving you null? 3 is giving you null means you don't have any record in row number 3 in this order. That means we have only index with 0th index we have a record. First index we have a record, but from there you don't have any record. So when you don't have a record, the value you get is null. So this is how you basically retrieve the data from that particular row. Okay. Now what did I do? Can somebody tell me how did I get Sirisha? When I said DT employee data, 0 of 0, then I got Sirisha. Can somebody tell how did I get Sirisha as an output?
The column name 0 and row name 0.
Nirmala, let's see what is the column name. Okay. The first column name is employee name. Sorry, the first row, if you see, it's employee name and employee salary, but the column name is not 0. To some extent, your point was correct, but give more clarity. When I said DT employee data of 0 of 0, then I got Sirisha when your data is like this. Let's say same when you have the same data, let's say I want 56,000. If I wanted to retrieve 56,000 from this data table, can somebody from this call tell me how do I get 56,000 from this data table? This concept is called retrieving a particular data from your data table. Okay, so when you have a data table like this, I just need 56,000. What should I do? You can give a wrong thing also, no problem, but I want everybody to speak. I'm not giving any gifts or award or something like that. Even it's wrong also, just tell me, that's it.
0, 1, sir.
Okay, once somebody said 0, 1, okay. Next, Susmit,
1, 1.
1, 1, Susmit, and Nirmala.
0 1, sir.
0, 1, 0, 1, and Vanshika.
0, 1, sir.
0. Okay, very good. So let's see how it actually works. Then I will tell you who answered it correctly. When I said data employee data of 0, okay, the first thing which is of row, it gave me Sirisha's record. When I said data employee data of 1, it gave me the second record, which is Sri Lakshmi's record. So when I said 0, automatically 56,000 is not available here. So obviously that item is not in row 0. So definitely it should be from this particular syntax. Now in DT employee data of 1, comma 0. If I do 1, comma 0, it will give me 1 second. My wrong. DT 1, comma 0. If I do 1, comma 0, in first row, what do we have in first row? This data. Now in this data, we have two records. First is Sri Lakshmi, the index is 0. And the second one is 56,000. What I said, I want 56,000. When you give 1, 0, you get Sri Lakshmi. When you give 1, 1, you get 56,000. So basically what I am doing, what I'm trying to tell here is, you have A, you have B, you have C, you have D. If I want A, I should say 0, 0, because this is of 0th row, 0th column. Okay, please concentrate. 0th row, 0th column, 0, 0. If I want B, I should say 0, 1. If I want C, I should say 1 and then 0. If I want D, I should say 1 and 1. And I want 56,000, which is located here. I should say 1, which is of first row, and 1, which is of column 1. Understood? Now just I'll test this skill from let me ask Vanshika. Let's say if I want this 45,000, if it is placed here. Okay, Vanshika, now how do I get the data if it is located at this place?
0, 3, 3.
Sorry,
1, 2, 3, sir.
2, 3 or 2, 2?
2, 2.
2, 2. Why?
Sir, it should be starting with 0. 0,
Exactly.
1, 2. Yes.
0. So this is 0. This is 1. This is 2.
2.
So this is of second row and column
Yes.
0, 1, 2. So 2, 2. Okay. So why are we learning this? First of all, in a real time scenario, why do we need this? Why are we doing all this drama and understanding of where index will start and everything is, when you wanted to get a particular piece of information from a data table, then whatever you are learning today will definitely help you. Okay, so going forward, when we are doing something related to task-based things, right? So this knowledge will help. Okay, now let's do something in a practical way. Now we are able to tell where it is and all everything, right? So let's see. Let me add one more record here. To add one more record, let's me put a column here. Let's say employee location, and then I'm doing end. Okay, and here let's say Sirisha is from Hyderabad. Let's say Sri Lakshmi is from Chennai, and then I'm saying okay. So now we have three columns. Columns means first column, second column, third column. But index is starting from 0, 1, 2. So we have three columns. So basically, this is how you basically get the data. If you want a column, just a column data, you say 0 and 0, something like that, right? So the last, everything I covered, only last step I wanted to tell. So that you learn. So let's see what is there again in DT employee data. We have three columns now. One is employee name, employee salary, employee location. So now Nirmala, if I want Hyderabad, HUID. If I want HUID from this data table, what should I do? Nirmala, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sri Lakshmi?
Sir.
Okay. Sorry. Wait, HUID. If I need this Hyderabad, this text from this data table, how do I retrieve it?
Sir, 0,00 on same like this. Three columns
Sorry,
will be showing.
three columns will be showing. That's correct. But if I want only Hyderabad, a particular text from this
So
complete data table, I don't want
0,
Sirisha, I don't want
2,
65,000. 0, 2. That's it.
0,2.
Why are you having low confidence? That's answer 0. If you say 0 of complete Sirisha's record, now if you say 0 of 0, you get Sirisha. If you say 0 of 1, it gives you 55,000. If you say 0 of 2, it gives you Hyderabad. Simple. Okay. Everybody clear,
Okay,
please.
sir.
First of all,
Yes.
confirm me. If you're clear, I'll go to next learning. Everybody clear, please. Just say yes or no.
Clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
But
please.
so far, I am giving you 0,1, 0,2, 0,0. But understand, one of the very, very important best practice when you are a developer, don't give the column index like this, like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Always give column name. So what I'm saying is, instead of giving 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, please give only like this, double quotes. And if you want to get the data from employee name, okay, EMP name, you say EMP name. It's give you Sirisha. And if you want a particular value from employee location, you should say employee location. Why? Why do I need to do this, sir? When index is also working the same way, why should I give this, sir? The simple answer is, let's say today your Excel sheet is looking like this, where first column is model, second column is price. What if tomorrow your Excel sheet has become price has gone to this place and your second B column has something like year. Now yesterday it was 0,1 to get the price, but today if I say 0,1, we will get year. Am I right? But when you say 0 of employee name, 0 of employee location, let wherever employee location go in the Excel sheet, you don't even need to worry because you are going with the employee name, that particular column name, not with the column index. So hope you know what is column name and column index. Am I right? Everybody understood this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is if you put like this, and if you come to me for code review or if you want me to check this code, sir, then I will only understand your standards of doing the development. So never go with 0,1, 0,2. Even in your somewhere in any time in the future, somebody in the somebody is telling you put 0, 0, 0, 1. Don't consider it. Consider going with the column name and the challenges, whatever I faced previously. is go with this name instead of the index. Okay, now let's go back to actual activity, whatever we are learning today. Okay, so everything we understood now. What is column name? What is column index? What is data row? What is data table? Everything we understood. Now let's go to the search activity panel. Here I'm saying DATA data table activities. So now go to that particular row item. Now go to this go row, get row item. Now see, it is asking you to pass the data row. Let's say I want to get the data from this particular Sri Lakshmi's record. So what is this get row item, sir? When we already done something related to this data thing like with assign activity, no sir. Why should we go for get row item is if you want to do it with this syntax way like this, no, you can go, no problem. Like I told you in the beginning of our sessions when you joined the UiPath, right? I told you for every business problem, like whatever development we are doing, let's say if I'm giving some task, Nirmala can do it in different way, Sushmit can do it in different way, and some other person can do it in some other way. But ultimately, everybody will get the same output. But the way you are approaching that particular task is different. So now this also is the right thing, like employee data of 0, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, like that. But sir, I don't know code. What should I do, sir? Why do I need to understand what is this data table concept? What is 1, 2? If you don't want to use that, then this activity is for the people like you. Then you should give the data like this. Let's say if I want to get the data, let's say of Sri Lakshmi's record. Now, where is Sri Lakshmi's record? It is in row number 1. If it is row number 1, you know you should pass the row as data, employee data, and then row number 1. This is done. Now, do you want to go with number or do you want to go with name? When do you need to go with number? Can somebody tell me any like with the concept of whatever we discussed so far? I said always go with name. Don't even go with number anytime. Always go with name. But still, why did you provide this option called number? Can somebody just guess why do we have this number option? Maybe I'll ask Vanshika. Vanshika, can you just guess why do we have this number option here?
No idea.
Okay, no problem. So the reason we have number is in case if you don't know what is the column name. Okay, 90% cases you will know what is the column name of your Excel sheet. But what if you don't know the column name of your Excel? What if I'm saying what if you don't know? Then you go with the number. But I know the name of my column, so just I select the name and then I give the name as employee salary. Okay, and now finally the moment you give employee salary, your error is gone because you have already filled it. But sir, I want to give number, I want to give name. If I want to give both, let's say here if you see, there is an option called column index and column name. Let's say I want to give both. The moment you do that, see, the moment I gave 1 year, employee name thing is gone. Let's say you want to give employee name, sorry, column name. The moment I selected column name, automatically column index is removed. So what can you understand? You can either give an index or name, only one. Okay, hope you are clear. Now I should get from this employee row, let's say from that row, from this particular column, I want to get the value. To get the value, I'm saying just creating a variable saying str get value. I'm just saying get value. So whatever we have got from this, I want to display it. So to display it, everybody know we should use this right line activity, and then here I'll say str get value, and that's it. So now let's see what it's doing, and I'll wait for you if anybody have any problem in using this activity. The same way, whatever I explained you here, the same task this will do, like but you are doing it via activity. Now see what we have in str get value, Chennai. So in this particular location, we have Chennai, and that's how it worked. And today you learned what is data row activity variable, what is data table variable type, and what is this column index, what is column name when you're dealing with data table. Small things. You have learned something. If anybody have any questions, this is the time, or else I'll go to next activity. Clear? I'm taking the silence as clear. Okay. So now if you see clearly, you have three columns, right? Name, salary, employee location. So you have one of the beautiful activity to remove one of the column. You have remove data column activity. Okay, I want to remove a column. Now to remove a column, do you want to give an index? You give the index. If you want to give the column name, you give the name. But like I discussed already, you cannot give both the properties at the same time. You can either give index or you can either give name. So let's say I want to remove this particular column called employee salary. I don't want employee salary in my data table. So how do I do that? I can go to column name, click on that property, double quotes, and say EMPNAME. You don't need any programming knowledge or anything like that. Just understand which property you should use at what time. That is only very important thing. Okay, now if you want to remove a data column from this data table, I want to remove the salary. So I've decided to give the name. If I give the index, everybody knows if I give the index automatically, it will throw an error saying overload group. Okay, so if in an interview, if somebody is asking, can you give index and name at the same time? Simple answer is no. And you can say that it will raise a compiler error saying you cannot give index and name at the same time. Okay, that's an answer for that. Now I'll remove this index because I don't want to go with index. I will just give the data table. Sorry, give the column name. Now I gave the column name, but from which data table I wanted to delete it? At this moment, I have only one data table, but in some scenarios, you may have multiple data tables in that workflow. So which data table? I should give the data table name. So what is the data table name? DT employee data. So DT employee data. Now let's see if that record is deleted or not deleted. So how do you delete a data column? I mean column from your table. This is a simple activity. Let's see what is there in DT employee data. See, we have, okay. Okay, sorry, I gave column name, but I told you call employee salary, but I gave name. So if you see data column, I said remove employee name column. Do you see any employee name column here? No. So it removed this employee name column and then it displayed salary location. Anybody have any problem? If no, I'll go next. Okay, same like removing a data column, like from that column, if you want to remove a data row, same activity similar to that, you should tell which particular row you want to remove. Let's say you have this data table. What data table you want to remove? I say data employee data. Now from this, do you want to go with the data row? Giving the data row, I'll tell you in couple of days of time. But now if I want to remove with the index, like if I want to remove first index or second index or zeroth index, I should just give the index. Now if I say index of 0. Okay, now can somebody just guess what will happen if I say remove index of 0 from this employee data? Whose record will be deleted?
Sirisha. Sure.
Sirisha record, because the index is of 0. I'm saying remove complete Sirisha's record from this data table. Then you said 0 and then it should delete the record of Sirisha. Now let's see DT employee data. We have this Sirisha's record already available. Now I am doing step into because this particular activity was not yet executed. Only if I do step into, then now if I go and see what is there in employee data, now you don't find Sirisha's record here because I said remove that particular record from the data table. Okay, so this is how you basically play with data table, like adding a column, removing the column, add the row, remove the row, filter the data table, which we have already learned last time. Now, if you want to get the data from that particular table, if you want to get a piece of information, you have already done this get row item. We have already just now learned what how do you remove the data column, how do you remove the data row and everything. Okay, everybody clear so far?
Yes.
Sir.
Is that boring? If it's boring, I will ask you a few questions. If it's interesting, I'll continue. Or whatever you want me to do, I'll do. But considering time we have, I should do bit fast forwarding the things. If this pattern is okay, I'll continue. Yes, please
Yes,
speak.
okay.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay, no? Okay.
continue.
Okay. So now let's learn another activity in UiPath called join data table. Join data table. What do you mean by join? Generally, in English terminology, I'm saying UiPath or not in .NET. What is that you and what if I'm asking you what is join? What will you tell?
Combining to that.
Can you give me one combining? Yes. Can somebody give me one sentence which will have a word called join? Just one sentence which will have a word called join. Guys, please speak. Please speak. If you are silent, this session will be boring for me. Please speak.
Like 2 employees have recently joined the company.
2 employees have recently joined the company. The same thing. So 2 people have joined so and so company. Now, the same thing, if you see that description, it says combines rows from 2 tables by using values. So basically, 2 data tables you are joining. But for that, we will understand this concept of joining the data tables. So now let's start again with build data table. So let's have 2 data tables. First one, let's say customer ID. Okay, customer ID means everybody know it should be of integer. And then I'm saying, okay, let's say the second one, let's say customer name. Okay, we have 2 data tables. One is customer ID and other is customer name. Okay, now I'm saying, okay. Now let me take here I'm in the description display, I'm saying customer ID and name. The moment I update the display name here, okay, automatically you will see the display name updated to this. Now let me take another build data table. And now here I'm saying the same thing. Here I will say customer ID and the same integer and another column. Here I'm saying customer location. Let's have the same name here, customer ID, all smalls, customer name. You can give small, capital, whatever you want, no problem. So I said, okay. So one we have customer ID, customer name. I think it was not saved. And other we have customer. Customer ID, okay. Okay, you can drag this to first whatever you wanted, you can do it. Okay, we have customer ID column, we have customer name column. Let's see if it's updated. Yes, it's updated. And one more data table called customer ID, customer location. Now I want to basically join these 2 tables. Okay, joining the 2 data tables, whatever we have. Let's say first one, we will create a data table saying control K and say DT1. We have created a data table, which is each one, we have put a name called DT1. Now for the second one also, we will create another data table saying DT. Okay, now so far we have just created 2 data tables. Now let's go and understand using join data tables. How do we join this person, this person? That means this data table and that data table. Let's understand. So now if I click on join data tables, you will have this option saying join type, and here you say inner, left, and full. Okay. For people with 2 years, 3 years, 4 years years of experience when you go for interview, you may expect a question related to join data table. Like if they may ask you, what do you mean by join data table activity? Have you used in any of the project? So you will be able to answer that question when you understand this activity, how it works. So I'm just saying join wizard. Okay, this button I'm clicking now. Now it says give input data table. Give the data table. What should I do? I should give the data table, which is DT1. Now it's again asking me input data table 2. Now we have already added another data table, which is DT2. And finally, it is asking me provide for getting the final output. You should have a final data table, which is an output data table. Let's say control K, and here I'm creating another data table saying DT underscore output data table. Guys, again, I'm saying to create your data table name, it can be of your own name. Okay, whatever name you wanted to give, you name. Because variable name, I am giving it like this, but you can give it in your own way. I don't have any problem. So now, let's understand the concept of join. First, we will go with inner join. So we will also in this session, we will understand what is inner join, what is left join, what is full join. Okay, so let's go with inner join first. When I'm saying inner join, and now you have this option here, like column table 1, column table 2, this operation. So we will understand what is this. First thing, as a developer, what you need to understand is, what do you want to do? I want to add this data tables to a common data table. Now let's understand what is the common columns do we have in these two variable data tables. What is the column which has common in both the data tables? What is that column which we have common for both the data tables?
IDs.
Very good, thank you. So in the column here, I'm saying customer ID, and it's throwing me an error. Can somebody help me fix this? What's the problem? Compiler error encountered. Customer ID is not declared. It may be inaccessible due to its protection level. Always remember, whenever you're giving a column name, always give double quotes and then give the column name. When you do that, now it's no error. Now, what should we do is, we are basically doing an operation like if it's equal, right? In this scenario, this column is equal in this data table, the other data table also. So in this data table, customer ID is there, right? So I'm saying customer ID equal to customer ID, and then I'm doing OK. Okay, so far everybody clear, or do you want me to repeat this step one more time? If yes, please tell me. I can repeat for any number of times. Sushmit, can you?
One time repeat.
Sorry, Nirmala, your voice was breaking for me. Can you repeat?
Yes, sir.
Is that for me only or for everybody it's breaking? Nirmala's voice.
It's breaking.
Nirmala, it's breaking from your side.
Yes, sir. Repeat one time.
Okay, I will repeat. I will. Just a minute. Sushmit, can you please tell us what did you do?
We took two data table where we have one data table has customer ID and customer name, and the second data table have customer ID and customer location. And we have taken the join data table activity where we are using the join wizard, where we have inputted the first data table in the DT1 and the second data table as DT2, and the output as create a new variable as DT output data variable. And we have one common column between the first data table and second data table, which is customer ID. So we have taken that one, customer ID equal to customer ID. Then we need to select, I think, the other IDs.
Yeah, thanks, Sushmit. So like Sushmit said, we have this create two data tables created, and we have this join data table activity. So we just give the input data table one, input data table two, and after we perform some action, where should the data table store? We are creating a third data table called output data table. Now in this operation, this one depends on the developer based on your requirement. If you want to check an amount, if the amount is less than 5,000 in this column. So all that operations you can explore, but this is a basic example I told because customer ID is there in data table one, customer ID is there in data table two. I said this one is equal to. Now I want to display the output. So before displaying the output, let's do something. Okay. So let's add the values to this data table because without values, what do you want to join? You need a values, you need the data in data table, then only you can add something, right? Let's start with customer ID 1. And let's say customer name is Vamsi. Let's say customer ID 2. Let's say Sirisha. We have, let me add one more record. Let's say customer ID 3. And let's say the person is Lakshmi. Okay, so we have three people. One customer ID Vamsi, Sirisha, Lakshmi. We have three people, right? So for clear, customer ID 1 Vamsi, 2 Sirisha, 3 Lakshmi. I'm saying okay. Now let's go to another data table. Now in the customer ID 1, for the person with customer ID, let's say I am from Hyderabad, so I'm saying Hyderabad. Now for the person for customer ID 2, I think customer ID 2 I gave Sirisha. Let's say I'm saying Andhra. Okay, just for example. Now let's say customer ID 3. Okay, customer ID 3. I don't want to give customer ID 3 details in this data table. I want to give for 4. And let's say 4 person I'm not even declared in the data table. Let's say let it be Sushmit. Customer ID 4 is Sushmit. He is from Kolkata. But I have not declared customer ID 4 in first data table. But I am declaring only its location in this data table. Okay. So for clear, I have two data tables. I'll go slowly. Okay. In this first data table, first ID Vamsi, second ID Sirisha, third ID Lakshmi. Now in the next data table, customer ID 1 is from Vamsi, is from Hyderabad. Customer ID 2, Sirisha, let's say she's from Andhra. Customer ID 3, I don't want to declare Lakshmi's details or location in the data table. So I have put customer ID 4. Let's say customer ID 4 is Sushmit, but I have not declared Sushmit details in data table 1. But I just want to declare his location is from Kolkata. And then I'm saying, okay. And let's see what is happening. Okay, let's see what is happening. Now to show the output, this data table output, Sri Lakshmi, which activity should I use to show the output data table? This particular data table, if I want to show in the output, what is that activity I should use? Sri Lakshmi, if I want to show the data table to an output panel, which activity should I use? Nirmala, any idea?
Hello,
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, from the start, my mic wasn't working.
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah, can you repeat the question, sir?
My question is, I have a data table. If I want to show this data table in the output panel, which activity should I use?
Uh, data table if you want to show, right, right range.
Right range will put the data in an Excel sheet.
Read range, sir.
Read range, you will read the data from an Excel sheet. But my question is, I want to show this data table in the output panel. Now let's
Right,
say if I'm
right text file, sir.
write text file will show the data in a text file. Let's say my ultimate agenda is output data table dot to string. And then if I quickly run this, let's see what it is doing. But if you are not answering this question, I will not proceed further, because now if you see output, it says data type. But I don't want this one. I want the content, whatever I have in this data type. Other than Sushmit, can anybody else tell me? At least Sushmit knows the answer.
Select through this activities.
Which activity, Nirmala? If I want to show a data table to output panel, which activity should I use?
Output
Yep.
data table, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. So output data table will convert a particular data to a string. So if you remember, we discussed this as the first activity when we started our concept of data table. Please go through those videos. If you are missing something, it will be difficult for you. And again, I'm continuing. This is my data table, which is DT output data table. So first of all, I should convert this output data table to a string. I should say control K, str, and then output data. Now to show this output string, I should say str output data. Now if I am running this file, let's see what is the output we are getting. Okay, it ran successfully. So now if you see customer ID, customer name, customer ID underscore one, customer location. So it has gave us this data, but 1, 1, Vamsi, 1, Hyderabad, 2, Srisha, 2, Andhra. But whatever I give related to Sri Lakshmi's record, whatever I gave related to Sushmit, where his ID is 4, his location is from Kolkata, it did not display anything. Okay, hope you're observing this output. The reason behind that is when you're doing inner join, whatever we are doing, whatever we have done now, inner join, basically inner join will work in such a way, only those common, in this example, whatever I did, right? The common column, whatever the common column we have, which is customer ID. So in this first data table, common column 1 is matching in this look in this second data table. So here we have 1, here we have 1. So both of them are matched. So it gave the full data like 1, Vamshi, Hyderabad. And again in this we have customer ID 2. In this we have customer ID 2. So that is the reason it gave the record of customer ID 2. But here we have 3, but here we don't have 3, right? Here we don't have 3. So it ignored to show the data table, that row. And here we don't have 4, and here we have 4, but as one of the data table only is equal to that particular index, which is customer ID. So it did not give you Sushmit's record. So that is how basically inner join will work. Inner join will work based on this condition, whatever you are giving at the bottom. So when I said this equal to this, then it is gonna give you the result related to this. Okay, now the same concept, let's get it applied to left join. Left join, I will tell you more after I show you the result. Okay, left join, I selected left join. I said okay, and let's see the output. And let's see the output. First one, 1, Vamsi, Hyderabad, because this is common for both the people, like first data table, second data table. And second one also same, it is matching, customer ID is matching in both the data tables. But in third one, which is Sri Lakshmi's record is still not present here, which is 3 and the third customer ID is not present here. But still when we are doing the left join type, that means always remember when you're doing input data table, one is a left data table and input data table 2 is a right data table. When I'm saying join type left, okay, remember when I'm doing join type as left, whatever records you have in first data table, everything will get displayed. And whatever you have common in the second data table also will get added to that. So if you clearly see the first data table, 1, Vamshi, 2, Sirisha, 3, Lakshmi, everything was displayed. And only these things like 1 Hyderabad, 2 Andhra, which are common, which are equal to customer ID, so it displayed. Okay, clear? Or do you want me to repeat one more time? Just remember when we are doing left join means in the first data table, whatever we have here, we have 3 people's name. All the 3 people will name definitely will come. Let's say, for example, if I am adding 4 is for Sushmit, I have already added it. Let's say 5. And here, let's say Nirmal. And I'm saying, okay. Now, can somebody guess me what is the output if I'm running now? Quickly, we don't have much time.
We'll get Nirmala name only.
You'll get Nirmala. Sorry, able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got disconnected. Okay, I'll continue where we stopped. Okay, so I think somebody was answering, right? It should give you 5 comma Nirmala, and then customer location was not been, the customer ID was not yet declared yet, so obviously it will not come where you have put Kolkata. So let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, and we are doing the left join. So like I said, whatever you have in the data table at the left hand side, everything will be declared. So which is data table 1. So you got the full data. Okay, everybody is clear. For example, if I'm giving here also 5, and let's say here I'm saying Chennai. Now can somebody guess me the output? If I gave in the second data table 5 and
Yeah.
Chennai,
It will give 5 Nirmala Chennai.
exactly. Very good. So let's. So now go to output and see 1 Vamshi, 2 Chennai, Sirisha, 5 Nirmala Chennai, 3 Lakshmi, and you don't have a location for Lakshmi because that was not declared in the second data table. But remember one thing, when whatever record was met that condition, everything, all those records will come top of the data table. whatever did not meet that condition, it will come at the last in that record, in that row. So 5 Nirmala is top of Sri Lakshmi, and you have everything ready here. Okay, that's how this will work related to left data table. And finally, we will learn what is full data table. So let's see what is full data table. I'm triggering the, I just triggered the bot. Okay, I just triggered the bot and see full data table is full data. One Sirisha, sorry, one Vamsi, two Sirisha, Nirmala, Lakshmi, and Kolkata. So combination of first data table and second data table without any condition based things, every data table value was presenting here, was presented here. Okay, so please just follow what we have learned by first replicating what I did, and also something like you can change the values, you can just play around and see how it's going. Finally, I'll ask if anybody have any questions.
All good. Thank you.
Any questions? Thanks. I think I will close the call for today. And
sir.
Vanshika, Nirmala, your voice is still breaking. Nirmala, did you say anything? If you want to say anything, Nirmala, just put it in the chat. And Vanshika, your video access was given. So to that email ID, whatever you have provided, go to spam folder. You will see that access link. So just see if you have the access. Go from day 1, day 2, day 3 in that order. Everything was clearly explained. If you have any doubt, you can get back to me.
Okay, sir.
Super. Thank you. Sri Lakshmi, all good?
Yes, sir. All good. Thank you.
Super. Please go this video, recording of this video, and then just practice everything. Without practicing, you will forget the things. So
Yes.
please follow
Yes.
the things. Nirmala, thank you.
Sure.
I saw you on
Thank you.
stage. Chalo, thanks everyone for joining today's session. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Bye.